Winter,
Yes.
did you hear about the Italian chef with a terminal illness?
No, I didn't.
He passed away.
That was good. He passed away.
He passed away.
Hungry Squared, bringing you the best food talk anywhere.
Welcome to the Hungry Squared podcast, where the brain and belly meet. I'm Lee from the Bee's Knees Waffles.
And I'm Winter from theredparty.com. This week, hey Lee.
Hello.
Lee's on our episode because Sharon is on her honeymoon. And so...
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Sharon. And we are talking about fried foods on this little mini-sode.
Yeah.
Yum. Let's talk about it. Lee, thanks for being on the podcast.
Hey, you're welcome. Thanks for inviting me.
How was your week this week?
It was good.
Yeah?
It was good. Just, putzed around.
It was a little busy week this week for us, though.
We did, yeah. It's starting to almost look like fall, and so we're out and about doing stuff, so.
It's not so blasted hot outside, so. Anyway, food nerd shout out time.
Yeah, I think I've got one. I think you've got one.
Yeah.
First of all, everybody, thanks for listening.
Yeah, it really is. It's fun to have people listen and come out of the woodworks and say that they're listening. It's so fun.
Yeah. One person I would like to shout out is Shannon J. She lives in our neighborhood, and she just casually slipped in to a conversation I was having with her, like, oh, I heard this on the podcast.
Wait, what did she say?
I don't remember.
No, I think I know what you told me, that she was like, wow, Lee, it seems like you cook a lot.
Wow, I was trying to be humble.
So I think she said something about what Lee cooks a lot, and because she's going back to some of the older episodes, and I kind of talk a lot about what you made back in the day. So
everything was terrible.
No, it was really good. It was.
Well, thank you. And who do you have a shout out for?
So this week, Yandri reached out to me, longtime listener and friend actually, and she found an ad on Craigslist for some cast iron pieces, some vintage cast iron pieces, and she wrote, I thought of you and your podcast when I saw this post. And sure enough, this if you want to go look in the Salt Lake City Craigslist ad for vintage cast iron, there are several pieces that are quite lovely. They're going to be kind of expensive, but $20 up to $85, but they are beautiful. They just need a little bit of TLC, and it's pretty amazing. But Yandri, thanks for sending that out. That was awfully nice of you to think about us. I might actually pass that on to Sharon and I, because they are the collectors in between the two of us. So, but yeah, thanks for saying hi. You guys rock. Send us emails. Send us food.
Casually mention it in conversation with us.
Yes, we love that.
And now for the main course. Okay, let's get down to our main topic. And it's fried foods. Why are we talking about fried foods?
It's because we went to the state fair this week.
I did not.
You didn't.
Winter went to the state fair.
Yep, and it was so much fun, and there was really, that's one of the things that you go there for, is the fried foods, and we're like, we need to talk about that. Fried foods. It was amazing. So this is just a little mini-sode, so we're just going to do the topic. I'm going to introduce a little bit of the history, and Lee is going to get into something else.
I've got a little questionnaire that I'm going to ask Winter.
Oh, I'm excited to hear what you have to say, Lee. It's always a surprise.
It is. Sometimes it's a major flop, but sometimes it's nice.
Okay, so quick history about fried foods. Lee.
Yeah?
We have been frying foods a lot for a really long time.
Like what? 100, 200 years?
No, thousands of years.
Thousands?
In fact, there's even a reference in a Roman cookbook in the 5th century BC.
You can never trust an Italian, dear.
Hey,
you know that.
Hey.
You're married to a quarter Italian.
I am. But they did have a recipe for a chicken dish that is deep fried. And the cookbook is named Apicius. Apicius. I'm sorry, you guys.
It sounds right.
So it started there, and there have been things along the way that have indicated that there's deep frying has been done. Such things as funnel cakes. That's a thing. Falafel.
Oh, good old falafel.
Good old falafel. even in Japan, we get tempura.
Oh yeah, good old tempura.
So like it started to show up places, fried fish, and even potatoes, French fries started to show up in the 17th century in Europe.
Freedom fries.
No. French fries from France and Belgium. Hello. Come on.
All right.
And then, in even 1860, somebody started deep frying fish and chips. And they started selling fish and chips in London, and that gentleman was Joseph Malin. So we've been frying stuff for a long time. What really made its popularity go through the roof is the invention of cast iron, or maybe more in availability of cast iron. So we've talked about cast iron before with Dutch Oven Daddy, Ned. And so listen to that one, but the cast iron was what made fried foods even awesomerly.
And why would you say that? Just because it could hold the heat and is durable?
Yes. Yeah, it basically was because of that. Yeah, so it was because it was, like you mentioned, it was durable, and we talked about it in our original cast iron episode. It has a really good heat capacity. So that's kind of the nice thing. And then you could throw it, people would put it on the open flame outside, and that was the advent of a different type of cooking method of deep frying outside. So yes, and that is because cast iron kind of made its debut. Fried chicken in the South, that was because of cast iron. Like that became a big deal because the cast iron availability. I do want to go over a couple of things in regards to deep frying technique and the science behind it, because there's kind of a sweet temperature range. It's usually between, and I think you probably can comment on some of that because of your culinary training.
Yeah. Are you? Yeah.
Well, so the temperature range is between about 350 to 375. That's kind of the sweet spot. Now, there's a lot of things that need to be coated. A lot of things do need to be coated with some sort of batter in order to get what you want, that golden brown. It's the Maillard reaction that we've talked about before. So once you put the food into the deep fryer, the outside starts to become dehydrated, and that's when the Maillard reaction kicks in. That brown golden thing, golden coating crust, I guess, when your sugars, your proteins, everything starts to break down and create that lovely caramelization. So this is one thing I didn't really quite understand when it came to oil for deep frying, is how to prevent your food from being oily. Because you kind of think, I'm going to deep fry this in oil, it's going to be fine. And I'm like, no, it's going to be oily. I always think it's going to be oily.
You always think it's going to be oily?
I always think it's going to be oily. But if you do it correctly, you don't have it. It's not too oily. And the reason why is because once that surface has been dehydrated and the Maillard reaction started to kick in and a crust forms, that basically prevents any oil from getting in and getting absorbed.
It doesn't get seeped in.
Yeah. And even though so only the heat is getting in to do the cooking process. So that's when you like warm things through, starches get gelatinized, the different things soften up. So that's basically what happens when you do it properly. Now, the other thing that happens is that the hot oil will heat whatever moisture is in the food, the water in the food, and it will steam. The steaming process will happen inside the food to cook it also. And the oil is not going to be able to go in because the water vapor coming out is going to be pushing stuff out to the surface. Hopefully, once again, if you're doing it correctly, then you are not having oil come in because you've got the temperature at the right spot. You got it at the sweet spot. Does that make sense? I think you know that already because you've done your culinary training, but I didn't realize that it needed to be at a certain spot to achieve the perfect amount of crispiness, Maillard reaction, and not too oily. Because you're going to have a little bit of oil absorption at the very beginning just because of the nature of putting it into the oil and letting it do its thing.
Now, do you have some tips that could help home cooks deep fry stuff better?
Yes. So, and I think you might be able to comment a little bit more on this, but you want to make sure your temperatures at the right spot. So probably having some sort of temperature probe will help you know when to do that.
Now, this depends on the oil you are using too.
Yes. And
some oils are better than others.
Yeah. And I think whatever recipe you're looking at, they should recommend some sort of oil, but you are looking at 350 to 375. So you're going to need something that is not going to smoke in that range. And then the other thing is you can kind of do an informal test. I've seen people do this before, is drop a little bit of flour into the oil or a piece of whatever you're trying to fry up, right, into the oil. And you want it to kind of sizzle. You'll want it to kind of see it skitter about in the oil, but not burn right away. So I've seen that. And then I've also seen, like I said, they drop a piece of the actual food that they're going to be doing, and it should sink a little, but then resurface. If it sinks and doesn't resurface, the oil's too cold. And if it just stays on the surface, doesn't sink at all, then that means it's too hot. Is that your experience when you were doing your training?
Whenever I've deep fried anything, we've always had a thermometer in it. So we've always known the temperature.
Okay.
But yeah, it usually is, if it's too cold, it's going to just absorb all the oil and get heavy and sink. If it's too hot, you'll be burning your stuff before it's well cooked on the inside.
When I was a kid, I think we fried a few things, but I think we were scared to bring it up to the temperature it should be. So we always ended up, whatever we were frying was kind of soaked in oil, and that was a major turnoff. So we kind of didn't do that as much. We just stuck with what we knew how to do. So I think there's a little bit of science to making it work. So anyway, so fried foods, that is what has just a quick regarding technique and a little bit of science of how it works. Now, Lee, so one thing I didn't realize after going to the state fair is that you see, there's always been this joke of everybody's going to fry everything, fry all the foods. And there are a few people that are known for being inventive at the state fairs, for example, and going crazy and above and beyond. There's a gentleman, his name is Abel Gonzalez Jr. and
From Texas,
and he's earned the nickname of Fried Jesus. And he invented fried Coke and deep fried butter, which is crazy. The deep fried butter anyway. And then there's another guy, and this guy, Abel, he's more on the East Coast side of things. And there's another guy, and you can tell me if this is correct. Bogazian?
I have no clue.
The other guy, he is on the West Coast. He is out of San Diego, and he did deep fried Oreos. He was the guy that started that. And he also did deep fried Kool-Aid, and then the zucchini weenie, which is a hot dog stuffed in a zucchini, then deep fried. So there are people that are doing crazy things when it comes to deep frying all the things. And I think the United States is a perfect place, especially with the state fairs. It's like the reason why they were invented or started in the first place was for farmers to get together and say, hey, look what I did. And let's judge our sheep and our cows and our zucchinis and everything. And so why not go bigger and better with our foods that you can find there?
It's manifest destiny.
Yeah.
You gotta have the weirdest deep fry to be the best deep fryer.
Yep, it is. True. So that's just a little bit of some history of fried foods, especially at the state fair. That was a really, really skim level.
Very skimmish. Winter, I've got 10 fried foods that debuted in state fairs, and I've got the name and what state fair they debuted in. Okay. And I would like you to tell me, would you personally eat this?
Listener, you should play along because I'm a little scared.
I very infrequently have more than one or two window tabs open in my web browser. I had about 6.
Wow. You guys, that's a big deal for Lee.
It is a huge deal. And they were all just crazy state fair fried foods. And there was a lot of overlap, but I probably saw about 80 or so weird fried foods.
Okay, I'm excited.
But I got 10 of them.
Okay, let's hear it.
Fried butter.
No.
You would not eat fried butter?
No, I wouldn't.
I wouldn't either.
Because think about, that's just, it's not heart healthy. You're just asking for something bad to happen.
I don't think there's much heart healthy on this list.
No,
there.
I'm sure not. No, I wouldn't eat that. And I know that, like, I can't, I'm just assuming it's a butter cube or something.
It's frozen butter,
Okay.
battered, deep fried.
And then when you bite into it, it's like
Just
oozy,
melty.
melty butter. But then it would probably flavor whatever batter really nicely.
Yeah.
Okay. I can see that.
And so...
No, but I wouldn't.
You wouldn't...
No.
Just to let you know, that debuted in the Iowa.
Iowa is a huge state fair. Like,
Yeah.
it's the state fair to go to.
Fried pig's ear, and that debuted in Minnesota.
Fried. I've never had pig's ear before, but I've eaten pig's feet, and I think it might actually be good. I wonder if
I would think it'd be really crispy.
Do you think so do they batter that one, or is it just straight in?
I think it's battered as well.
No. Really?
Yeah, it looked... it looked... The picture was just a cup with a bunch of curly cues coming out of it, sort of. And I couldn't tell if it was battered.
I think I would probably eat...
But yeah, I'm guessing it's not battered.
I don't think it's battered, and if it was not battered, then I think I would try eating that. But if it was battered, I don't think it would be right. The texture wouldn't be right.
Probably not.
So, yes, with an asterisk.
All right. Fried salsa debuted in Texas.
How does one do that?
From the looks of it, it was salsa incorporated into the
batter? I would eat that.
Fried.
Yeah, I'd eat that.
Yeah. And if it was like a corn mill batter,
Yeah, I'd
it'd
eat
be
that.
like salsa and chips.
Yeah, I'd eat that.
Me too. Fried jelly beans from Massachusetts. And I think it was jelly beans mixed into the batter, then deep fried.
Well, I'm a little worried about that just because of the, like, jelly beans can become molten when they're too hot. But if
you let it cool down.
If you let it cool down, and they maybe don't get super hot, because if they just need to cook the batter, because you don't really need to cook a jelly bean, you might just need to warm it. If it's molten, no. If it's not molten, yeah, I might try that.
You might.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, this one is called the Fat Elvis on a Stick, and this was in Wisconsin. It is a peanut butter, chocolate, bacon, banana sandwich on a stick, battered and deep fried.
Chocolate,
Peanut butter,
chocolate,
bacon, banana sandwich, battered, deep fried.
Is the bacon pre-cooked?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Then yes, I would try that.
Me too. Fried alligator, Illinois.
I think I would.
We've had alligator before.
When
we were in Florida.
We did?
Yeah, we went to that one restaurant and they had alligator bites.
Oh yeah.
And there were the little nuggets. It was fried alligator.
We probably have had that already, except for this one's not on a stick, probably.
Not on a stick.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Listen to this one. Deep fried White Castle hamburger, California.
Tell me.
You take a White Castle hamburger.
Are you battering it?
Yeah.
No.
And then deep frying.
No.
No, you wouldn't?
No.
I've never had White Castle before, so I don't...
I've not had White Castle hamburgers before, but I hear they're really good. Like, it's got a cult following.
It's got a cult following.
It just feels excessive, but I guess I said yes to the Elvis Presley thing, too. That's a battered sandwich.
Yeah. And I like Monte Cristos, and those are fried sandwiches.
That's true.
All right, Winter, this one is a fried scorpion from Arizona.
So I'm assuming it's just the straight scorpion.
Straight
Yes,
scorpion.
I would totally try that.
Now, question.
Yes.
What part do you start first? What end of the scorpion do you eat first?
Steer?
Do you start at the tail or do you start at the claws?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Maybe a claw. I think I'd go for a claw first.
You would go for a claw?
Yeah. I think they would be kind of like shrimp when they're fried.
A coconut shrimp?
A coconut shrimp. Just think of it that way, right? Yes, I'd be all over it.
Maybe. I would too. All right. Fried Coke. And this is Coca-Cola, not the other Coke. And and from what I could understand, it was just Coca-Cola batter rolled in a ball and deep fried. So
yeah. So it's just like fritters
yeah.
that are Coke flavored.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
And that was from Texas. All right, Winter. Now this is the weirdest one.
Okay.
Fried Spam curds from Minnesota.
What are Spam curds?
Spam cubes
Okay.
wrapped in a cheese curd, dipped in batter, fried.
Totes.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I know there's some people out there that don't love the Spam. And I say, what's wrong with you? Spam's good. But that's because I grew up on it. It's a Hawaii thing, I think.
I didn't grow up on Spam, and I like it too.
Well, that's good. But yes, I would be all over that. Because think about it. It's like ham and cheese.
Salty ham and cheese.
Salty ham and cheese. Well, ham and, yeah. And it's deep fried.
Yeah. So from this list, out of 10, you'd probably eat about 70%.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it was 70%.
It was kind of a lot more than I expected.
Just the butter and the White Castle you said no to. So
yeah.
80%.
80%.
And that's the fun thing about fair food. It's crazy stuff. You only eat it once a year, so
that's true.
Most likely eating pretty healthy throughout the rest of the year.
Are we though? Are we?
Fairly healthy. We're eating okay healthy.
We are not eating fried foods all the time.
No.
In fact, we hardly eat fried foods. So.
I just don't like the smell that lingers in the house afterwards.
Yeah. And that's why it makes sense to do it on the Dutch oven outside.
That's right.
We should do that.
No, because then we'd be eating it a lot more.
That's true. We should probably do an episode on fried chicken, I think, because we can go a little bit more in depth into the history of fried chicken itself. And then also a little bit more into the deep frying technique. Because I think there are arguments and debates on how to get the best fried chicken.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. Well, thanks, Lee, for bringing up that funky list.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I'm glad your 6 tabs worth of windows was worth it.
There was some fun stuff, but, I grabbed a couple weird ones, I think.
Nice.
Well, thanks for joining us today for our show. You can find us at hungrysquared.com, on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play Music, and Spotify.
Woot woot. Hey, you guys, thanks for joining us today on our episode. We really appreciate it when you guys give us a holler and let us know what you're doing and what you're thinking and what you like. Tell us what you wouldn't eat from that list Lee shared with us today, because there was a few things that I wouldn't. Well, there was a couple things I wouldn't eat. Anyway, you can email us.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, and if you have your own state fair, county fair that has some crazy stuff that they're deep frying, let us know.
Yeah. hungrysquared@gmail.com, or you can just send us a quick message on Instagram at hungrysquared or Twitter or wherever at hungrysquared. So join us next week for our next episode of Food Nerdery.
Okay. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Hungry squared, yeah, hungry squared.